Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 2 emulation with PCSX2, and PCSX2 I would say is doing something pretty awesome, but also a big undertaking. And that is reworking a lot of documentation. So they say here over on Mastodon, we're in the early stages of thoroughly reworking PCSX2's documentation, starting with a nearly done setup guide. That, in my opinion, is really important. They then go on to say it should be accessible and useful for all levels of ability, and fine-tuning that balance across platform, even for something this mundane and simple, has mandated a lot of careful thought. This means better navigation, better organization, technical footnotes, clearer instructions, basic accessibility features like alt text, and correction of often severe oversights. Now, in my opinion, and you can let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, but in my opinion here, the best place to get information about an application, including setup and troubleshooting, is from the application itself. And if they've got up-to-date and clear documentation, I would say that's a huge win. And speaking about documentation and software, next up we're switching from PCSX2 to Windows and Xbox mode. And this is, this is very interesting. I think a lot of people will be excited about this one if you've got a handheld. Apparently here, Microsoft's new Xbox mode on Windows has leaked for any handheld. Windows enthusiasts have found a way to get the new Xbox full screen experience running on Windows 11. Now, I'm assuming that some people may be asking why you'd even want to do this, and I would say if you're on a Windows handheld, here may be the answer. The new Xbox full screen experience doesn't load the full Windows desktop or a bunch of background processes, and it frees up more memory for games. It's essentially not loading the Explorer shell and saving around 2 gigs of memory by suppressing all the unnecessary parts of typical Windows 11. Let me know your thoughts about this one. And 2 gigs of memory is not 2 gigs of storage, it's 2 gigs of RAM, and sometimes RAM can come at a premium on certain gaming handhelds. And this could make things a lot more accessible for a lot more people. The full guide is up on Reddit here in Reddit ROG Ally, and it's titled Guide for Enabling the Full Screen Experience on the ROG Ally and Other Handhelds. If you're interested and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links to everything will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And taking a quick peek at the install guide, and it does seem to be pretty simple and straightforward, although you will need Windows 11 25H2. And the overall process here is, it seems pretty quick. And speaking about Windows, and this one's pretty quick and just a friendly heads up. Now, we've talked about Windows 10 in previous videos and Microsoft ending support for Windows 10 in October. And it seems here, Consumer Reports is calling on Microsoft to extend support for Windows 10 just due to its huge user base. Now, in my opinion here, I think it's obvious that one of the biggest risks to using Windows 10 after Microsoft no longer supports it is security. It could be extremely vulnerable if it's no longer receiving security updates. And I would assume there's going to be a lot of bad actors trying to affect Windows 10 devices, given its huge user base. I mean, Consumer Reports is saying that its Windows 10 is currently used by an estimated 46% of Windows computers. That is a lot. I would assume Microsoft wants all these people to migrate to Windows 11 or buy machines that are Windows 11 compatible, but at the same time here, it does seem like a lot of people or a lot of machines will be left stranded. Now, to be honest with you, I've got no idea what the public outcry about this will do. I don't know if it's going to do anything because people have been complaining for a while now. I've been one of the people complaining, not that Microsoft would ever listen to me. But anyways here, just taking a look at Consumer Reports, which is a much larger organization. And I'm hoping that this makes it to Microsoft and they maybe consider supporting Windows 10 for some more months. Who knows here? Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and let me know your thoughts if this is going to be even effective to reaching Microsoft's ears. And speaking about Windows support, next up we're talking about Steam, and this announcement is up right over on the Steam support site. It's titled Windows 32-bit OS support. As of January 1st, 2026, Steam will stop supporting systems running 32-bit versions of Windows. Windows 10 32-bit is the only 32-bit version that is currently supported by Steam. and is only in use on 0.01% of systems reported through the Steam hardware survey. So I would say this affects a very small population overall of Steam users. And they do say here, Windows 10 64-bit will still be supported and 32-bit games will still run. Also, it's worth noting here, existing Steam client installations will continue to function for the near term on Windows 10 32-bit, but will no longer receive any updates of any kind, including security updates. I'm not going to lie here. Let me know in the comments below if you're among the 0.01%. I'd be really curious to know any of the viewers of this video in that crowd. And speaking about stuff that works on Windows, and I guess other platforms as well, next up we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with Shad PS4. And Shad PS4 just got a brand new update here. Version 0.11.0 just dropped. Now, I don't know about you, but I would say this one is a pretty big release, and for one big reason. So they say here a brand new release just dropped in. As usual, we have a lot of new features and bug fixes. And the most important thing is that games that use Unreal Engine are now starting to boot, and some of them are even playable. Their GitHub has all of the changes listed, and there are quite a few. If you wanted to see them in detail, check out their GitHub. And there's even stuff in here that some people were asking for in regards to visual, the GUI. They've added volume slider that adjusts how loud games are on a global level. They've got a toggle in the settings window for readbacks, added default trophy sounds, added customizable controller hotkeys, and even more. Let me know if you don't think this one's a huge update in the comments below, but I would say Shad PS4 got better in terms of compatibility and performance and overall usability, quality of life stuff. I can't wait to see what happens next. And speaking about PlayStation 4 emulation, next up we're talking about another hugely popular PS4 emulator, and that is PS Off. And PS Off just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, 2025 September 17th is the latest update for PS Off. So here's what the PS Off team says. After weeks of silence, here's the new version. This version is aimed at addressing hangs in Unreal Engine games. Life is Strange 1, Ghostbusters, Rocket League, Code Vein, and many more are now progressing further, sometimes to gameplay. Thanks to Steven for helping and figure the culprit, and to all the testers for, well, testing. Additionally, this release contains some fixes here and there that should fix problems with the kernel too. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd say based on these changes to Shad PS4 and PS Off that PlayStation 4 emulation is in a pretty darn good state right now and progressing very well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And speaking about stuff in a pretty good state, next up we're talking about an emulation front end known as Simple Launcher. And Simple Launcher just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, release 4.4.0 is the latest update, and I would say this one's pretty exciting for one very big thing here. The big thing about this new release is the introduction of support for Windows ARM64. On top of that, they've improved UI responsiveness, they've added a delete cover image option in the right-click context menu, and even more. And speaking about emulation front ends and launchers, next up we're talking about Nintendo DS emulation with MelonDS and the front end known as MelonDS Launcher. And MelonDS Launcher just got a brand new update here to version 2.1.2. So in this update, there's some fixes and some brand new stuff here, like the introduction of an automatic online cover download. And speaking about new stuff, next up here we're talking about cologne, or eau de toilette, or perfume, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, here, if you're a fan of Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum, and stuff like that, there is new cologne available. It looks like they're going to be about $30 each overall, and well, they're definitely something. No idea on what these smell like, but they do exist. Let me know your thoughts about these in the comments below. Initially, I thought these were not real, but it turns out they are. I don't know what the C64 smells like here, but I don't think the cologne smells anything what I'd imagine a C64 smelling like, or what I remember a C64 smelling like. I really don't know. And speaking about physical stuff, next up here, that was a horrible segue. Anyways, next up here, we're talking about Logitech. And Logitech just had their Logitech G Play 2025 and unveiled a bunch of new interesting products. Now, fortunately here, Logitech has made everything super easily discoverable right on their website, including prices and specs and all of that stuff. So if you're interested and wanted to learn more about anything, links will be within the GitHub link in the description below. They unveiled the Pro X Superlight 2C mouse. I think I do have a Pro X Superlight somewhere around here. Right now I'm using the Alienware AW720M, which I actually really like. It may not be the most popular mouse out there, but it works great for my hands. Anyways, here they unveiled I'm getting sidetracked, the RS50 base racing wheel, the RS pedals, they unveiled keyboards, they unveiled headsets, and even more. Unsurprisingly, a lot of this stuff is not necessarily cheap in terms of price and hopefully not quality. Even just taking a look at the racing base here, and the RS50 base is priced at $350 for PC and $450 for PS4. Then add a wheel to that and some pedals, and well, you're probably north of $500. Taking a look as well, the overall price point for a lot of this new stuff seems to be north of $150. But personally, I was just hoping to see some more entry-level stuff unveiled. Maybe that's the way I should have conveyed it. But the G321, for example, is more up my alley when it comes to this stuff. Let me know in the comments below. And speaking about lower cost stuff, next up we're talking about Micro Mages, which is an NES style of game released on Steam here back in 2019 to a very positive review score. This one is priced at $12.50 Canadian and is just getting a brand new sequel. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a release date or price or any of that information just yet. But Micro Mage's sequel here is called Micro Mage's Maker. If you're a fan of Mario Maker, if you're a fan of creating your own stuff, or possibly trying out others' creations, hopefully, this may be up your alley. And speaking about releases, next up we're talking about Gnome, or Gnome as a lot of people now are referring to it as. And Gnome 49 Brescia has just released. For full details of their changes, I would recommend checking out the release notes here. There's quite a bit to it, and I would say these changes bring a lot of nice tweaks and features and improvements to their desktop environment. I mean, Showtime is now the main video player. There's a new document viewer. The lock screen now has media controls. Remoting into this thing is a lot better. I mean, for example here, they've got multi-touch input support, relative mouse input, and extended virtual monitors. And speaking about monitors, next up we're talking about something that's a little bit controversial, and that's Samsung. And check out this article over on Android Headlines, at least the headline over on Android Headlines. Samsung reportedly starts serving ads in the last place you'd expect, and based on the picture you can probably guess. It is in the monitor on a refrigerator. Now, unfortunately, I've got no information as to whether or not this is true, and if it is true, I've got no confirmation on what fridges it may or may not apply to. But if it is true here, and I've got a hot take, and maybe it's not a hot take, I don't mind seeing ads on something I haven't paid for because I know the ads are funding whatever it is. On something I've paid for, I don't want to see ads, whether it be software or hardware. Software like Windows 11, or hardware like a frickin' fridge that can cost a couple of $1,000s. This to me is, I don't want to say it's par for the course nowadays, but it seems like it's becoming commonplace. I am curious to hear your thoughts though. I mean, if Samsung provided you a free fridge, would you be okay with seeing ads on the screen? If you paid for a fridge, would you be okay seeing ads on the screen? And speaking about surveys and questions and all of that stuff, last up here, we're talking about a very interesting couple of statistics. I guess there was a survey conducted and 90% of gamers have played a remaster or remake, and this is in the last 12 months. On top of that, 85% have played a remaster without playing the original game. For more information on those stats, I do recommend checking out the gamesindustry.biz article and taking a look at this subheadline here. Subheader, whatever. Anyways, they say, though some respondents had concerns about studios taking an easy, repetitive route to market. And I kind of agree with this one, but kind of disagree. I mean, yes, on one hand, we are seeing a whole lot of remasters and remakes and that kind of stuff. But on the other hand, there are a lot of really great games that have been released in years past that I think deserve remasters and remakes. On top of that, sometimes doing a remaster or remake is quite a bit of effort. It's not necessarily just putting a fresh coat of paint on an older game. But I don't know here, and I'm kind of not surprised at all that they found that 85% of those who played a remaster or remake in the last year did so despite not playing the original version of the game. Given the fact that there's a lot of attention on these remasters, like Oblivion, not surprised at all. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.